Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Not gonna lie, I am very excited to share this one with you guys today. Earlier on this week, I was actually fortunate enough to take place in an early capture event for Battlefield 2042. So first things first, huge shout out and a huge thank you to EA and Battlefield for allowing me to take place in this event, record some special footage to share with you guys today. Had a ton of fun. It was my first time doing anything like this with Battlefield. So again, big thank you to EA for allowing me to be a part of it. But yeah, obviously Battlefield 2042's beta is upon us with the early access. We also have the open beta coming up here pretty soon. And today I wanted to go over my general thoughts and opinions on the game, how it felt when I was playing it for my first time, and then also just like sort of like the basics of what you need to know with the Battlefield 2042 beta as well. So as we go through it all today, if you enjoy the video at any point, or if you want to see more Battlefield 2042 content here on the channel, let me know by dropping a like on it. Really does help me gauge whether or not you guys are really interested in this stuff. It also does help grow the channel as well. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you have not already subscribed, feel free to do so as we are on the road to 800,000 subs. So real quick, before we get into like my general thoughts and opinions on my gameplay experience, wanted to go over some of the basic info that you guys should know for the beta coming up here. If you're on PS5, PC, or Xbox Series X or S, you're gonna be able to play with 128 players or up to 128 players. If you're on last gen on the PS4, the Xbox One, you'll have 64 players. And basically what this consists of is all-out warfare. It is Conquest on Orbital, which is a really cool map, and we'll get into more on that here in just a moment. But the gameplay in and of itself, really cool. It flows well. The map is really awesome. Like I said, we'll talk about it more here in just a bit. You got 4 specialists to choose from, or 4 main operators to choose from: McKay, Falk, Boris, and Casper. McKay is going to be that assault class. There's a grappling hook on that class, which is so fun to use and mess around with. You can actually make some pretty elite plays with that. For Falk, that's sort of like the support class. You get like combat surge and whatnot there. Boris is like the whole engineer class. You get the sentry gun or the sentry operator with that. Then also Casper, that's going to be the recon drone and the movement sensor class, so a bit more information based there. Personally, I found myself running McKay with that assault class because that's just how I play. I'm very run and gun, constant action, never really want to sit still. I just want to be on the move and, you know, in the enemy's faces as much as possible. So that's really what I ran throughout my entire gameplay experience. And I really liked it, especially with that grappling hook. Like, you can just make some sick plays. The movement that you can sort of capitalize on with that. You can get into power positions. Like, it's just a really good time. I had a lot of fun with that. So those are some of the core like gameplay basics. You have your set series of weapons that you can mess around with each different specialist: rifles, SMGs, snipers, marksman rifles, pistols as secondaries, whatever the case may be. Personally, I found myself using rifles and snipers a lot. The M5 was really good, as was the sniper that we used. So that was like the core of my gameplay, basically what I spent a lot of my time doing. But let's talk about what I think about Battlefield 2042 based off of my first initial experiences here. For starters, you'll notice the gameplay is on keyboard and mouse. Now, usually I'm not a big keyboard and mouse player. I have played a lot of games and put in a lot of time playing keyboard and mouse, but primarily for FPSs, I am a controller player. That's where I'm a bit more comfortable. But for some reason in this game, controller just felt a little bit weird. I don't know if it's because of beta and they're still sort of fine-tuning the settings and whatnot, or maybe I just didn't have the right settings in place, but controller just felt a little bit wonky and a little bit off. So I went ahead, switched to keyboard and mouse, and it felt buttery smooth. I felt like my movement was good, my aim was still good, even though I wasn't super used to it and had to warm up a little bit. Like, keyboard and mouse felt phenomenal in this game. I think some work needs to be done with the controller, with the input, with like the settings and adjustments you can make. It just wasn't for me, and it seemed like that was sort of the general consensus with my squad that I was playing with as well. It just didn't feel natural entirely, whereas keyboard and mouse felt really solid. So just a heads up there, depending on what input you're more comfortable with, you might want to make some specific adjustments and changes based on that. The game itself visually looks really good. The map, like I said, Orbital, phenomenal map. Very large. You got a lot of different sort of ways to fight. It is a very open map. There's a lot of room to run around, to be out in the open with no cover, so it's semi-dangerous because of that. Snipers and players in power positions can really spot you easily. There's also a lot of close range engagements around the various objective points in the buildings, around those areas that are sort of the choke points on the map. You will notice a lot of close range action, so you can definitely rotate around the map and play through the map, gearing more towards your play style. If you're slow, you want to sit back, snipe, and pick off players from a distance, you can do that, or you can try and run and gun and get up to those objective points and play in, around that hectic gameplay, right? So overall, game looked great, map felt really good, and it also ran very smoothly. Now, keep in mind, I'm on a pretty high-end PC. i9 9900K, I think, or a 10900K is what I have for the CPU. 3090 dedicated gaming PC. So like top of the line rig and I was playing on high settings and it felt very smooth. Overall, the optimization I felt was like really, really good. So no complaints on my end as far as like lagginess or, you know, drop frames go. Felt very good in that regard. Let's talk the movement. I was actually really surprised by this. The sprinting and just the basic movement mechanics felt really, really good. Both on controller and keyboard and mouse. Aim is where I was a little bit more, you know, uncomfortable on controller specifically, but all across the board, movement felt really good. The sliding is actually really, really clean as well. You can sort of transition from, you know, jumping around to tactical sprinting to just normal walking to sliding. You can go back and forth between all sorts of different movement mechanics and sort of string them together. Very natural feeling, very smooth. You can bunny hop pretty well as well, which I was kind of surprised by, especially if you have that grapple hook. You can actually make some pretty sick plays, sort of tethering movement strings together like that, grappling onto a ledge and then b-hopping or something like that. I was able to do that a couple of times, and that was really, really cool. So movement also gets a big thumbs up from me as well. Now, I also got to bring up the weather elements. This is by far, I think, the standout thing for me from my experience. The weather changes are so cool. Sometimes you load into the game when it's a nice sunny day, you're chilling out, max, relaxing, all cool. It's a beautiful breezy day. Other times you spawn in and there is a tornado inbound. And yes, the tornado is absolutely awesome. I'll throw in some B-roll footage of what happened the first time that my squad and I got to experience the tornado. We stopped all gameplay. There was no focus on getting kills or capturing objectives. Our only objective there was to get inside of the tornado and see what would happen. And it was awesome. It literally picks you up, it flings you around, it can actually take you out. That happened to me. It can fling you out and you're suddenly across the map. You can parachute around it, you'll feel it like sucking you in. It destroys different aspects of the map. Vehicles were flying around, debris was everywhere. It was awesome. Like, it was such a cool and unique experience because it's not something that happens every game, but it has a massive impact on the gameplay when it happens. So massive thumbs up for me on that, EA and Battlefield. That was so cool. The weather elements were awesome, specifically on Orbital as well. There's also the whole rocket launch site. That rocket ends up launching during the match, and that's also a pretty big spectacle. Everyone sort of stopped and was watching that at one point in the gameplay. And you can actually destroy that rocket if you deal enough damage to it when it's in its vulnerable state, which is also pretty interesting. I noticed a lot of air vehicles were sort of teaming up to try and destroy the rocket rather than just going and dominating the objectives with explosive rounds and whatnot. So really, really cool sort of like mystery objective there to blow up the rocket on Orbital specifically. But like the dynamic elements of the gameplay was really cool, really unique, like I said, and it made for a very fun experience every time you got to witness one of those things happening, whether it was the rocket launch or the rocket getting destroyed or the tornado ripping through the map. Ton of fun. And then the last thing I want to touch on briefly is just the gunplay. Overall, it felt really good. I like the fact that on the fly you can actually change up your weapon attachments and go in and put on a new optic or put on a different grip. I thought that was really cool. I found myself sort of sticking to the same basic set of attachments because I got comfortable with those, but I really enjoyed how that felt, and it was a really cool aspect to be able to change my gun right away. Or if I picked up a gun off the ground, I could immediately put on attachments. Whether I was sniping, running gunning with a rifle or a SMG, or using my secondary pistol, the gunplay felt really good at all ranges, so I was a big fan of that as well. But overall though, man, I really enjoyed my experience playing this game. This was my first time hands-on with Battlefield 2042. It was just one map and one mode, but I was really enjoying the gameplay, and it was a good time. So if you're interested, like I said, the open beta is coming up here. If you pre-ordered the game, you have early access going on right now as well, I think right as this video goes live. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Ton of fun on BF 2042. I really enjoyed it. It was it's a very fresh game and gameplay experience in my own opinion. But that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 800,000 total subs. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, or if you want to see more Battlefield content here on the channel, let me know by dropping a like. It really does help out the channel in general. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy. Have an awesome rest of your day. I will catch you guys later. Peace out.